Okay, so in PolyU, as in many other universities, we count courses in terms of credits, so to speak. So each course or each semester, each course which lasts for 1 semester is worth 3 credits. So when we say 48 credits, what we really mean is, 16 subjects, right? 16 subjects, and half of them is towards coursework and half towards a thesis. So the DELS program is officially classified as a taught postgraduate program as opposed to a research postgraduate program. But nevertheless, we still have a very heavy emphasis. As you can see, 50% of the program is about producing a research thesis, which you can also ask me questions about as you go along. There is also an exit award for those who may wish to leave the program early for various reasons, and that will require 33 credits, whereby you will qualify for a Master of Arts in Applied Language Studies. So the fee is 7.25k per credit. This is the same regardless of your background or nationality. So I think it works out to be about 348,000 Hong Kong dollars for the whole thing. Right, so the program host, which administers the program, is us, Faculty of Humanities. But this program, being interdisciplinary in nature, is actually contributed to by 4 academic departments, some of which are in the Faculty of Humanities, for instance, Chinese and Bilingual Studies, right? English and Communication, which I am from, right? English Language Center, as well as the Department of Computing, right? So this is an interdisciplinary program, and you can expect to study it for 4 years if you are taking full-time, and for 5 years if you are taking it part-time, right? So a lot of our students are actually practicing teachers, for example, in the mainland of China, so they are actually taking it full-time, and they still manage to keep their jobs because we have a very flexible kind of curriculum structure that caters to these kinds of needs. The intake, the most recent intake is 24 out of approximately 100 applicants, so the success rate works out to be about 25%, right? And the medium of instruction is English throughout the program. Okay, so a lot of people will have the first question in mind, which I hope to address immediately, which is the difference between DELS and the traditional PhD, right? So DELS is one of those, what you can call a professional doctorate program, where the main focus is on practicing existing professionals, right? And we want to tap on their professional knowledge and experience and integrate it with research skills to produce an applicable thesis in their profession. So a lot of our students, for instance, are teachers. They research on the characteristics of language teaching and learning in their various contexts, and they find that the results are thereafter transferable to their classroom practice. So we emphasize a lot on professional experience. As a result of that, it's particularly attractive to existing professionals. Not just teachers, but also translators, interpreters, people working in corporate communication, various other relevant endeavors, right? We have a lot of students in these areas. Whereas the PhD is, I would say, definitely geared towards cultivating future academics, right? Emphasizes research skills. A lot of PhD students may not necessarily have professional experience because it's not required in that sense. And it really prepares students for a professorial career in universities. Whereas for DELS, it's not necessarily the case. So I would say that is the immediate distinction that we can draw between the two. Okay, so curriculum structure, these are the nitty-gritty details, so I'll just quickly go through them. Like I mentioned, 24 credits for coursework, of which there are 8 subjects because there's 3 credits per subject, as I mentioned. And out of these 8 subjects, 2 of them are compulsory and 6 are elective. We have a broad range of electives to choose from. Okay? And then for the thesis part, is kind of divided into 2 separate theses, Thesis 1 and Thesis 2. The first one is like a theoretical foundation. It's like a literature review, which allows you to explore and finalize a particular topic that you want to pursue in greater detail subsequent to that, which is Thesis 2. Okay, so all these are, we can talk about the details later, but just bear in mind that there are like 2 components which are kind of joined together. Okay, yeah. So this is just an overview of the subjects that we offer, right? I hope that this will give you an idea of the kind of spread and variety we have across the 4 focal areas that I was mentioning just now, right? There are some foundation subjects, right? We go through things like, the latest trends in applied language sciences, research methods, linguistic theories, discuss analysis, corpus linguistics, social linguistics, and so on and so forth. And then we have a cluster of subjects in language education. We have a cluster of subjects in intercultural and professional communication, in translation and interpretation, and in speech sciences, language processing, and cognition. So it is really quite flexible in the sense that students can actually mix and match between the various subjects to their own liking. So you don't have to declare that you want to specialize in X or Y. Instead, you can customize your own degree at the end of the day. So that's one thing that students find it quite attractive, in the sense you're not forced into a certain direction. Okay, so the thesis itself, so usually students will spend the first year doing their coursework and completing the coursework requirements, and after that it really depends on your individual progress, right, and the speed with which you can conduct your research. So for full-time students, typically the first thesis takes 1 semester, and after that they defend the thesis, right, and then once they pass, they move on to the next thesis, which usually takes 2 semesters. And when we say semester, we also include the summer, actually. Right, so in PolyU there are 3 semesters per year. Right, you have September to December, you have January to about May, and then you have the summer term in between. Right, so if you are really diligent, you can actually graduate within 2.5 years. It is technically possible. Right, and this is an attractive feature for many professionals who may have other commitments. Okay? If you are doing it part-time, you just multiply each estimate by 2. Right, so to give yourself more time, because part-time students, most of them are currently working, and they find it slightly challenging sometimes to juggle both work and studies. Okay, so at PolyU, one unique thing about us is that we like to interface teaching and research to a large extent, which means that our students are also actively encouraged to participate in our research initiatives and activities, of which I can highlight at least 4 or actually 5, right, research centers and also global partners, which we involve our students in activities such as seminars, workshops, conferences. Our students are very welcome to participate in them in order to get acclimatized to the academic life, so to speak. We have the International Research Center for the Advancement of Health Communication, for example, right, and the recently established Research Center for Chinese History and Culture, okay? Language Cognition and Neuroscience, Professional Communication in English, and the PolyU Peking U Research Center on Chinese Linguistics. So if you look at these 5 comprehensively, they basically represent a large part of the research that we do at PolyU. Okay, so scholarships, we do offer scholarships. Another very important distinction between DELS and a PhD is that for PhD students, upon admission, they are given a scholarship, and therefore the competition is also, pretty intensive for a PhD. Whereas for DELS, it is a self-financed program, right? But good students also can get financial sponsorship, not in the form of cash, but in the form of credit rebate, credit reduction. That means you pay less school fees. Right? So at the end of the day, it's pseudo cash in a way, right? So the selection criteria, of course, includes academic merit, right? And this is the first category, which is entry scholarship given to you at the point of entry. That means, sorry, not at the point of entry, but you are considered based on your qualifications at the point of entry, which means you don't have to apply for it. It's automatically considered, right? It includes these criteria, so academic merit, professional qualifications. Some people have some publications, for example, or they have won some awards, teaching awards and stuff like that, right? And of course, there is admission interview and written test performance that you have to undergo. Okay, so maximum of 24 credits, which if you do the math, it's actually quite substantial, right? So yeah, although most students, they will get about 6 credits or 3 credits depending on that merit. So this is an incentive, I would say. There is also the post-entry scholarship, which is given out based on your performance in the program itself, right? So basically, these are the criteria. Cumulative GPA of 3.6 out of 4, right? And so on and so forth. These are very technical details, which you can feel free to take a picture of. If you want the slides, we can send them to you later on. If you give us your email address, no problem. Okay. So DELS is this is another very popular question. Is DELS a recognized qualification? And unequivocally, I can say yes. It is in fact categorized as level 7, which some of you may know is the highest level in the Hong Kong government's qualifications framework. So it's equivalent to a doctoral program. And if you are from the mainland of China, which is where a large part of our students are from, they will tell you that it is recognized by the Ministry of Education in the Chinese government, and therefore, universities, tertiary institutions also recognize it as a doctoral level qualification. Right. And of course, this is no longer an issue now. We were talking about a few years ago, we were talking about COVID and hybrid mode, but of course, from now onwards, it's just face-to-face mode of instruction. Okay, so another very important point, entrance requirements, right? So there are, this sometimes is confusing, but let me try to explain, right? So essentially you need a master's degree, right? And then, of course, a degree in a related field. So in a general area of language studies, humanities, social sciences should be considered related, right? Not something like physics, for example, or chemistry. That would be a bit too far off, right? Plus, 5 years of post-undergraduate work experience. So perhaps you have finished your bachelor's, you worked for 5 years, and then you just recently completed your master's. That means you have no post-master's experience, but you have post-bachelor's experience, right? Then you are eligible, right? The other situation is whereby you may have taken your master's immediately after your bachelor's as a fresh grad, right? And then you do that, and then you work for 2 years post-master's, right? So essentially it's either 5 years post-bachelor's or 2 years post-master's, okay? But don't take this as a hard and fast rule whereby you are excluded. If let's say you have 4 years, 364 days, right? And you resign a final day, it's fine, right? We look at it kind of holistically, right? So as long as you kind of make the mark and you have other aspects of your qualifications or your application are attractive, then you are pretty much safe. Okay? Right. English language requirements is only applicable to those whose degree, the first degree, is not from a recognized university at which English is the medium of instruction. So if you've graduated from any university in Hong Kong, you are fine, right? And in fact, most of our students from the mainland of China, they also don't have a big problem with this because they can always provide IELTS test results, whereby at least 6.5 as an overall score, with all sub-scores being above 6, would qualify them for the program. Or TOEFL with at least 90 for the IBT, with a written score of at least 23. And of course, there are a lot of other English language tests in the market today, as we know, like Duolingo and stuff like that. And all these are also possible on a case-by-case basis. Okay, so these are just two of the prototypical English tests that everyone talks about. Alright, so what is required for you to apply? Well, copies of transcripts and certificates, obviously, right? In fact, applications are done online, so as long as you click on the link, I believe all these will also, there will be instructions to guide you through the process, right? But generally speaking, copies of transcripts. And the second one is crucial, a good research proposal, right? Because the research proposal will really allow us to gauge your ability to conduct academic research. And of course, I must say that this may always change and be modified as you go along. So the proposal you submit at the point of application does not bind you to the exact same topic throughout your eventual thesis. It's just for us to gauge your potential, right? So that's very important, right, with this kind of structure. And if possible, include your proposed chief supervisor, right? So we have a list of academics whose profiles are online, right? Please feel free to get in touch with them to discuss whether or not they'll be interested in your research, because if you can indicate a specific name who also acknowledges your approach and declares that he or she is interested, then you will have a much higher chance of admission. Okay? Right. You will need a personal statement. You need 2 recommendation letters, right? And yeah, basically these are your professional qualifications, like research projects involved, consultancy projects involved, and publications, which are also very good for you in terms of how you are perceived. Okay, so these are some of the target applicant groups. In fact, this list is basically drawn from the students that we've had. DELS has been running for the past at least 10 years, to my memory. So it's a very established program, and our students have always come from one of these groups, right? Teachers and administrators, right? In teaching, for instance, Chinese or English as a second language, right? So there is this misconception that you must be an English teacher just because the program is in English, but that's a very big misconception because the program is about linguistics, right? Which is actually about the study of language in general, right? So if you're a Chinese teacher, if you're a German teacher, you teach Swahili, you are also welcome to apply to us. Okay, practitioners in professional communication fields, right? Translators, interpreters, language and IT. These are some of our, fields in which our students come from. Something that is very important, which is we have to declare that the university, the faculty, and the program are not affiliated with any outside agencies which claim to be able to guarantee you admission, because we've had cases in the past where there are some, dubious, to say the least, for agencies that claim that they can help you secure an interview or secure an application and even write a proposal for you. And I would say please do not engage with any of them, because we immediately disqualify any application which shows evidence of having approached one of these organizations, right? Because to us it's considered unethical, right, to approach these, to pay someone to write the proposal for you. So please don't do that. Okay. Yes. Application is open, right? If you visit the what do you call this? AR? Is it AR website? No. Okay. Anyway, just the university website to apply for our program. It's open from now until 30th April, right? And the next year will start in September, the next term. Applications are considered on a rolling basis, right? So we don't kind of wait until there's a whole mass of applications and then we do the processing work. So in other words, apply as early as you can, right? That will be to our advantage. And we actually give out offers on a rolling basis as well. Okay? Yeah, and the application fee is 450 for both local and non-local applicants. If you have any inquiries, right, I think I deliberately left some time for questions, interaction, and also sharing from our students. Please feel free to write to me. That's my name and my email address, dennis.tay@PolyU. And if you have any administrative methods, like related to application, related to any kind of questions you may have, you can contact my colleague over there, Rachella Lee, right? Or email this address or call us. And we are very, very willing and happy to engage you with your questions. Right, and the usual, promotional campaign, right? So Facebook, if you want to follow us, follow the faculty for the latest updates. All right, so we have 10 minutes, and I've got actually 2 current students, which I'm sure you would love to hear from them about their experiences. I've got Liz with us face to face. I've got Catherine online, but she seems to be behind a veil of. Catherine, can you hear me? Can you see me? It's okay, we might want to give her some time to get ready. But maybe I can invite Liz first, who is current year 2 or year 3? Year 2, right? Year 3 student, all right, who is in our program, and she can come up here and tell us a bit about yourself. And
sure. And my name is Liz. I come from mainland China, and I was a university English teacher before I joined this program. So I think perhaps many of you are like me. Yeah, are you teachers? Teachers? Okay, yeah. So in our dance program, at least in my cohort, there are actually a lot of, I think, university English teachers. And like Professor Tate mentioned, I think this program is quite a good program in the sense that it can allow us to balance our work and our study. Yeah. And then I think because before I joined this dance program, I worried about finding a supervisor because I do not really have a lot of the experience in research. So I actually wrote my very first proposal, and then I brought it here. I talked with several professors here. I think my experience is that they were very, very nice. They were super nice. They were trying very hard to help me find the suitable way to approach the question. And then I think, generally I'm very satisfied with their supervision. And one very important highlight that I really like when I'm studying here is that I think, although this program is self-funded, like Professor Ting mentioned, but then it has a taught postgraduate studentship. Is this the correct name for this? Yeah. So I think I benefited a lot from this taught postgraduate studentship because it allows me to be a TA for ENGL, and then I did enjoy, I think I'm still enjoying my overall experience working here as a TA. Yeah.
If I may interject.
Sorry?
If I may interject, I just want to explain
Yes.
what a TA is. So TA is the teaching assistant. So basically, if you are a Dell student, there is a potential for you to kind of like gain teaching experience as well as, of course, get some, pocket money, side income, by helping us tutor undergraduate courses. So that is another potential way to both develop your career as a teaching professional as well as get some financial support. And Liz is one of ours.
Yeah, I do enjoy that experience very much, and and I think I'm very satisfied with the program. And of course, if you have any questions for me, I'm very happy to answer. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
I think now we're heading the floor to Catherine, right?
Yeah. Okay. Catherine, can you see our large audience in the room?
Okay, I can see. I can see it clearly.
Okay, can you please start your sharing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will start. Thank you, Professor Tay, for your invitation. Hello, everyone. I'm Hua-Yin Catherine, and the Dulce student who completed thesis oral examination earlier this month. And I have been a tertiary English teacher for many years, and pursuing a doctorate has always been my dream. And the Dulce program offered by PolyU has helped me to realize this dream. I think the essence of this program lies in exceptional academic expertise, professional work ethics, and pioneering research vision of the world-class professors at Faculty of Humanities. And their superb lectures have acquainted me with applied linguistic sciences from multiple perspectives, thereby consolidating the theoretical and methodological foundations for my thesis and future research. And my supervisor, Dr. William Feng, has insightfully introduced me into the interviewing field of multimodal social semiotics and meticulously guided me along my academic path. And I think the administrative support is very patient, responsible, and timely. The university library provides an extraordinarily wide variety of facilities and resources to facilitate my study and research. And on this occasion, I'd like to express my heartfelt thanks to this wonderful academic experience at esteemed PolyU that makes a much better self academically, professionally, psychologically, and overallly. And I'm looking forward to your questions and the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Right, so thank you. So right now we have some time for questions. In fact, we can exceed a little bit, the allotted time. If you are still free, you may feel free to stay in this room. We can continue to engage one another. Right, and if you have to leave, of course, feel free as well. So any questions from the floor regarding any aspect of the program? Yes, maybe.
Thanks. So for how long do we have to study full-time face-to-face on campus?
Well, most people stay in the first year, so because you have to take 8 subjects, right? But then, which means which works out to about 4 subjects per semester, right? So of course you may wish to extend it a little bit. It's not as if you have to finish it in 1 year, but a lot of our full-time students, for instance, they study in Hong Kong for 1 year, they go back to wherever they're from to continue their thesis research, and we are very flexible with that arrangement, right?
Regarding the fee, how many installments for the paying schedule?
This one is a good question. Do you know the fee installments and stuff like that? Yeah. Yeah. Do they pay everything? I think by number of credits they register. Yeah. You pay according to the number of credits you register for that semester. Yeah. Yeah. I think.
If I may. And also we're required to settle I think that's called a default deposit. Is that 3 credits each semester? Yes, we have to pay at least pay for at least 3 credits at the beginning of the semester. Yeah.
So as long as you enroll, you pay. If you do not enroll any subjects, then you don't need to pay. Because sometimes students, they take what we call a gap semester, or 0 subject enrollment, which means you take a break to prepare yourself more, but then you don't have to pay any school fees during that break. Yeah.
And I wanted to know how many scholarships do you offer each year?
Well, it's really based on merit, so we offer to whoever deserves it, right? So we don't really have a very stringent cutoff. Thankfully, we are in a good financial position because this program is very popular. So as a result, we are able to give whoever deserves scholarship. You know.
What would be the criteria? What are you looking for?
Yeah, as I was mentioning, the criteria is. Oh, I have to share the screen again. Yeah. Maybe I don't need to share it because you guys are here. Where is the PowerPoint? Yeah. So there are two categories of scholarships. As I was mentioning, there's an entry, which really is based on your qualifications at the point of entry. So if you have full GPA from Harvard University and 10 publications, yeah, for example, right, then you get everything. And then the next one would be post-entry, which depends on your performance after the program. Yeah. After you complete all subjects, you get GPA of 3.6, then, and we have 10 students who meet this criteria, we give everyone the money. Yeah. Okay.
How many credits is this one?
Like I say, the minimum is 3 credits because it's multiples of 3. So if you barely meet it, we might decide to give you 3 credits. If you exceed it, exponentially, then you may get 9 credits, for example. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. So thank you for your presentation, first of all. I do have a question about taking this program as a part-time student. So I'm one of the many people who would likely be, continuing to teach throughout the semester and then also balance courses on top of that, right? So I'm just wondering, how many courses per week do students who are enrolled part-time typically take? And is it limited from Monday to Friday, or do you also have Saturday classes?
Okay. So, as I was mentioning, if you're a part-time student, you can kind of like divide the workload into, by half, sort of. So if you have 4 subjects as a full-time student per week, then for part-time usually it's 2, which means 2 weekday evenings. Weekends, we currently don't have any weekend courses, right, Richard? Yeah, we don't have, but then it is a theoretical possibility. Yeah, so the classes are on weekday evenings, regardless of because full and part-time students will study in the same cohort, right? So the courses are from weekdays 6:30 to 9:30. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. If I designed or created a new invention during the master period, which institute should I ask for applying the funds to take this invention as a research project?
Sorry, I couldn't understand. You design
Yeah.
Design what?
If I design like a new teaching tool or a kind of new board game for Chinese teaching, and I want to make it as a project to do research and test it, which institute should I ask to apply for funds?
Well, if you are able to find research funds, quite likely you may not be able to do so because did you just graduate from your master's?
I'm now in a master's degree.
You're still in a master's degree, right? So what you're talking about would be something outside of PolyU. So what you're saying is you think that your project is very promising and you believe that you may be able to get external support. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah. So PolyU itself currently doesn't really have this kind of scheme whereby we fund students based on their projects. That might be more applicable to a PhD degree program. So if you require funding, right, and you have a very good project in mind, then you may wish to consider the PhD if funding is a very important consideration for you.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just one more question.
As many as one.
Great. So this is a kind of a specific question, but so let's say that I'm working on a project right now at my current job, and I have a 5-year research grant to be working on it. When I'm applying, when I'm creating my proposal for the entry position for this program, would I be able to use data or use my current initiatives to write my proposal, kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone scenario? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, well, we don't really have any problems with that because we don't own the data anyway. But I would suggest that you talk to your employers and your team, because to us it's a purely academic activity, at the point of application. So if it doesn't involve sensitive, confidential things, it doesn't involve money, for example, which is always very sensitive, right? I think we don't have any problems with that. Yeah. So it looks like there are no further questions. If you do, feel free to come up to me afterwards, right? But if not, then I think we've exceeded the time by 5 minutes. So I want to thank you again for attending our information seminar, right? Thank you.